state your name for the camera, please?
My name is Hilary Brawner.
And your title?
Uh, I'm Board of Director, Foundation member.
Okay. And then what is your connection to the society aside from your current role?
Sure. So I've worked in upstream subsurface oil and gas for 25 years, and I currently work at SLB in the seismic data divisions under data and division, and I've been participating in the SEG for 25 years, from business development, working at several different clients, and I've been with SLB since 2015. So, and seismic is a big part of. I'm currently in the seismic world. I've been there for quite a bit and working on new energy things now.
Okay. In one word, how would you describe SEG?
The curious, the technology developers, problem solvers,
Yes.
leaders.
Can you share a memorable experience you've had with your involvement with SEG?
You know, I came into this industry with a liberal arts background. And I started on the more geological side. And it was through the conventions, getting to know people. And one thing led to another, and I found myself moving towards the subsurface and the inversions and the understanding the imaging. And as a creative, I could see through the seismic, the inversions, the data, a real understanding of how the scientist and the data brought energy to the world, right? Efficiency. And it's with energy that we lift people out of poverty, that we change societies, that we actually change mankind. We help humanity with energy. And so it has been through the SEG over the years that I have gotten to know and been able to collaborate across the board, from putting seismic chutes together, processing, inversion, geomechanics. And so these workflows that allow for growth in basins, specifically onshore U.S., basins where efficiency matters. And geophysicists have been leading the way with big data, big compute, on how to maximize what you're doing through the drill bit. And it's through this curiosity and the willingness to sit back and say, how can we do more? How can we do better? And so for me, the SEG means meeting people, hearing what they're doing, be inspired by what they're doing, and this continual path to do better, be better.
For a woman to speak about the science and to do it with such passion, I applaud you. That's going to be on social media.
I actually love the science. As a non-science person, you know, when I first got into this industry, I have an acting degree. And when I first got into the industry, my dad was like, just be honest. I cannot tell you. I could name names of people that, because I was curious about what they were doing, and I was like, oh my gosh, this like changes the world what you guys are doing. I would call my mom, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting in meetings, and this is like the stuff that moves the world, what they're talking about. And I get to be in these meetings. I get to participate in this. And what I found was, if you really were curious, if you really wanted to know, they would sit and explain it to you. And they would say, wow, you're curious about what I'm doing? Yeah, I'm curious about what you're doing. I mean, I have worked with people who speak like a beautiful mind. They literally, Colin Sayers, who I absolutely love, who's now our professor at Rice, he speaks and he writes the mathematical code and I'd be like, you know, Colin, I have no idea what you just wrote, so let's walk through and you explain it to me. And I did understand it. And it was this passion for what they're doing in the science And we need that in our kids. We need that. So I am new to the foundation. In fact, when they called me and asked me, would you like to be in the foundation? I was like, me? I'm not a geophysicist. And they're like, but that's the whole point. We want you to be on the foundation because you love what you do and you love the people that you call on, that you work with, and you are passionate about the community. And I am passionate about this. And I do feel that science, technology, and curiosity are what our kids need to learn. You cannot, in the news right now, they're talking about merit-based. But if you don't inspire a young child to be curious, if you don't get them to see that science and play and math and technology is what changes our world, and the problems are more complex. They're getting more complex. Onshore oil and gas is more complex. Offshore drilling, all of the new energy. And now we're talking about space. And what we need are the problem solvers and the curious. And that is what physicists are. And this is an amazing community that will embrace you and mentor you and guide you. And when you mess up, they will gently say, this is a better way to do it. This has been an amazing career for me. I've been a single mom. I've had a child that's had health problems. This industry stood by me. I've been able to provide. Science and technology is the way for the future. And the SEG and the societies like it are the mentors of the future.
So what are your hopes for the future?
My hope for the future is these amazing people who are on this board and those alike can become part of an educational system for our youth. I feel very strongly that the experience that they have, their knowledge, that the young need that. It's not just the math and the science. It is how you apply it. And in a world where we don't know what's going into the models, critical thinking and understanding not just the intelligence of the decisions, but the impact of your decisions. So my hope is that by being on the foundation, I can help bring in potentially other scientific communities, and that we can develop something that takes the mentoring, the experience, the creativity, the thought process, and drop down to a younger generation so that they can see this is what leads the world to change.
One last question. What would you say to someone looking to become involved in the organization?
I would just say, stand up and say, how can I help?